Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, I will be in a especially good mood because my better half is here. So I'm very pleased that she has come to tonight's program, assisting me in my singing. Tonight's sponsor, the Dalal and Patel family, has requested a very nice topic for me to speak about. So the lecture is entitled, Ram and Krishna, Simultaneously One and Different. Of course, simultaneously one and different is the unique philosophy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The four main Vaishnava acharyas, Ramanuja, Madhva, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, they have their philosophy. Shankaracharya has his Mayavad philosophy. And Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. Everything is simultaneously one with and different from Krishna. So, we begin tonight by first of all invoking the sacred 12-syllable mantra. This mantra is very powerful, chanted by Prahlad, chanted by Dhruva, chanted by Chitraketu. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Bolo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we begin with two very famous verses from Bhagavad Gita. Hopefully, everyone should know these two verses as well as they know their cell phone number. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmanang srijam yaham paritranaya sadunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever, wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata Arjuna, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time, I myself descend. So that was true in the Treta Yuga. Ram appeared for the same exact mission, to annihilate the demons, to give pleasure to the devotees, and establish true dharma, surrender to God. That is the ultimate dharma, surrender. Same thing when Krishna appeared, same reason, to kill the demons, bless the devotees. And Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, establishing in Gita what is real religion, true, eternal, Sanatan Dharma. Of course, surrender to Krishna, love of God. Now, let's first talk about Lord Sri Ram. There is a very nice prayer by Jayadev Goswami in his introduction to the Gita Govinda. Vitarasi dikshu rane dikpati kamaniyang dashamukha mauli balim ramaniyam keshavadrita rama sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Let's all do that last line. Keshavadrita Rama Sharira, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. So this verse actually explains how Ram and Krishna are simultaneously one and different. He says, O Keshava. Keshava is Krishna. O Lord of the universe. O Lord Hari. You have assumed the form of Ramachandra. So, Ram and Krishna are one. And at the same time, separate individuals. You have assumed the form of Ramachandra. All glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroyed the 10-headed demon, Ravan, and you distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them, who were much harassed by this monster. So in this verse, we get a clear, very clear, Keshavadrita, Rama Sharira. They're one, and at the same time, separate, different individualities. Now, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Lord Ram are only spoken of very, very briefly, because Shukadeva Goswami at this point is in the 9th canto, setting up the 10th canto with Krishna's appearance and activities. So he has to go through the Ram avatar. And Shukadev says, O King Parikshit, you have already heard so much about Lord Ram, because Lord Ram appeared in Treta Yuga, thousands and thousands and thousands of years prior to Shukadeva Goswami speaking Bhagavatam to Parikshit. So he said, I'm just going to give a synopsis of the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, because you already heard so much previously. And at the end of his narration of Ram Katha, this is what Shukadeva Goswami says about Lord Ram. Why should we take what Shukadeva Goswami says as significant? Well, we must remember that when Raj Parikshit had decided to give up his life, and it was known he had only 7 days, so when he sat down, many, many rishis and sadhus, demigods, great kings, all assembled for this event of Maharaj Parikshit giving up his body. So there were many demigods, sages, rishis there. But when Shukadeva Goswami walked in, everybody stood up. Why? They all recognized, yes, Shukadeva was the greatest of all the rishis. So that's what you do when you see a superior person. You stand up, you offer praise. Jai Guru Dev. Just like, as my good friend likes to say, Prabhupada is sitting here. So, Jai Srila Prabhupada, everybody. So, Shukadeva Goswami was recognized as the topmost rishi of the time. There was no dispute. So Shukadev's statements in Bhagavatam are very, very significant. Bhagavatam is the final conclusion of Vedic knowledge. After all, what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam was written by the same author of Vedanta Sutra, Vyas. Just the other day, we worshiped Vyas. Was it Friday? Guru Purnima. Vyasadeva is remembered on Guru Purnima day. So, Vyasadeva had already given the Veda Anta, the end of knowledge, in his Vedanta Sutra. But on the order of his guru, even though Vyasadeva is God, still he has a guru. Ram had a guru. Krishna had Garga Muni, Sandipani Muni. So, even God takes a guru. So, hint, hint, hint. If it's good enough for God, I think it's good enough for me and you. So, Shukadeva Goswami, this Srimad Bhagavatam, what is it? It is Vyasadeva's own commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is very difficult to understand. You must be situated on the Brahminical platform. You must know all 108 Upanishads. You must be very expert in Sanskrit. It's like a high thesis. So not many people can understand Vedanta Sutra. But that's okay. The very same author wrote his own commentary and put it in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then taught it to his son, Shukadeva Goswami. So, Bhagavatam, what does it say at the very beginning? Nigama kalpaturar galitam phalam. Phalam, fruit. What's your favorite fruit? Mango, right? Everybody loves mango. So, this is the ripened fruit of a particular tree. The tree of Vedas. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. The ripened fruit coming from the tree of knowledge. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost authority in Vedic philosophy. So, Shukadeva Goswami now gives a summary of Ram Leela. A summary within a summary. Please try to hear. This whole process is based on hearing and chanting. I'm your chanter, and you try to hear. That's all. So Shukadeva Goswami says, Lord Ramachandra's reputation for having killed Ravana with showers of arrows at the request of demigods, and for having built a bridge over the ocean, does not constitute the factual glory of Lord Ram, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. So although Ram had a human-like form, still that form is transcendental. Still that form is above the modes of nature. It's not a material form. It looked like a material form. Ravana thought that Ram was an ordinary human being. He didn't realize Ram may look like an ordinary human being, but Ram is no ordinary human being. Same thing, Krishna. Same thing. When Krishna appeared, several demigods also miscalculated. How can this 7-year-old boy be my Lord and Master? Indra thought. But Krishna showed him, lifting Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights. Then Indra realized, uh-oh. And Indra had to come begging forgiveness for his nonsense activities. So this is the problem. When God appears in these two human-like forms, Ram and Krishna, people who are not studied, who are not educated properly, will make that mistake and think, oh, they're ordinary human beings. No. Shukadev continues, Lord Ramachandra has no equal or superior. So that makes him God. Someone who has no equal and no superior, that's one definition of God. And therefore, Lord Ram had no need to take help from the monkeys. So then why did Ram do that? To give the monkeys service. That's why. Yes, Ram could have just said like this, Ravana, you're dead. But then there'd be only one page to the Ramayana. So he has to make a good movie. So yes, he takes the help of the monkeys, who were actually demigods. Same parallel in Krishna Leela. The Yadu dynasty. Who were the Yadu dynasty? Expansions of the demigods. They were not ordinary people. Lord Ramachandra's spotless name and fame, which vanquishes all sinful reactions, are celebrated in all directions, like the ornamental cloth of the victorious elephant that conquers all directions. Great saintly persons like Markandeya Rishi still glorify Lord Ram's characteristics in the assemblies of great emperors and like Maharaj Yudhisthira. So, the glories of Ram were even being spoken at the time of Krishna and the Pandavas. And we all know Hanumanji, who is here in this temple, that's what he loves to do. Simply glorify Lord Ram. That's his ecstasy. Just like people, not you, but common people, they like to watch TV and that's how they enjoy. So how does Hanuman enjoy? By describing the pastimes of Lord Ram. And he doesn't get tired. They're ever fresh. Similarly, all the saintly kings and all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, worship Lord Ram by bowing down with their helmets. Shukadev says, let me offer obeisances unto Lord Ram's lotus feet. So Shukadev is saying, even our Shivji, even he bows down to Lord Ram. Who will not bow down to Lord Ram? Soon, we're going to have Lord Ram here in this temple. That will make so many people happy, won't it? Yes. Lord Ramachandra returned to his abode, to which bhakti yogis are promoted. Yes. If you want to go to the kingdom of God, only by bhakti yoga is that possible. You cannot go back to the kingdom of God any other process than bhakti. This is the conclusion of Gita, the conclusion of Bhagavatam. This is the place to which all the inhabitants of Ayodhya went after they served Lord Ram in his manifest pastimes. So when Ram appeared millions and millions of years ago, all those residents of Ayodhya, when Ram left, they also accompanied Ram and went to the spiritual planet, Ram Loka. Just like Krishna has Krishna Loka, Ram has his loka, either Ram Loka or Ayodhya, but it's in the spiritual world. It's Vaikuntha. And there, Ram does not look like what he did on earth. Ram there is four-handed Narayana form. The four-handed Narayana form and the human form of Ram, they're one and the same. Simultaneously one and different. Because God can do anything. He can be two-handed, four-handed, 100-handed. There's no limitation. He's Ananta. No limitations. They worship Ram, offering obeisances, touching Ram's feet, fully observing Ram as a father-like king. Wouldn't we love to have Ram right now on earth? Either in India or America. I'd be happy either way with Ram. O King Parikshit. So here is your first benediction for this evening. This is what you get for coming on time. You get extra blessings from Shukadeva Goswami, not from me. O King Parikshit, anyone who orally receives the narrations concerning the characteristics of Lord Ram's pastimes will ultimately be freed from the disease of envy and thus liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. Namely, you'll go back to Godhead. Because what is the original sin? Envy. You give up envy, you're liberated. You'll be happy. The only thing holding us back is envy. Maharaj Parikshit then inquired from Shukadev, how did Lord Ram conduct himself? And how did Ram behave in relationship with his brothers? Namely, what are his brothers' names? Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna. Good. This is how I make sure that you're still awake. They were expansions of his own self. Again, simultaneously one and different. Just as Krishna expands himself, Vasudeva, Balaram, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, four separate individuals, but none different from Krishna. So Ram is no different. Ram, Bharat, Shatrughna, Lakshman, they're all expansions. Simultaneously the same and individually different. Shukadeva Goswami said, after accepting the throne of the government by the fervent request of his younger brother Bharat, Lord Ram ordered his younger brothers to go out and conquer the world, while Lord Ram personally remained in the capital to give audience to all the citizens and residents of the palace and supervise the governmental affairs with his other assistants. So this is after Sita is won back, the battle is over, now they're back in Ayodhya. Now this is how Ram is existing. During the reign of Lord Ram, the streets of the capital Ayodhya were sprinkled with perfumed water and drops of perfumed liquor thrown about by the elephants from their trunks. When the citizens saw Lord Ram personally supervising the affairs, they appreciated this opulence very much. The palace gates, assembly houses, meeting places, temples, and all places were decorated with golden water pots and bedecked with various types of flags. Wherever Lord Ram visited, auspicious welcome gates were constructed. The gates were decorated with various flags made of colorful cloth and with tapestries, mirrors, and garlands. Wherever Lord Ram visited, the people approached Lord Ram with paraphernalia of worship and begged Lord Ram's blessings. This is what they would say. O Lord, just as you rescued the earth from the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean in your incarnation as Varaha, may you maintain now this earth. Thus, we beg your blessings. Here is another example of simultaneously one and different. Varaha is no different from Ram, who's no different from Krishna. They're separate and at the same time equal. Thereafter, not having seen earth for a long time, the citizens, both men and women, were both very eager to see Lord Ram. And so they got on the roofs of their palaces, but they were incompletely satiated with seeing the face of the lotus-eyed Ramachandra, and they showered flowers upon Ram. Try to imagine that. Ram has now entered. Everyone has flowers. Showering Ram. Pushpanjali. Sri Ram. Jai Ram. Sita Ram. Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chief of the best of learned scholars, resided in that palace along with his pleasure potency, Mother Sita, and enjoyed complete peace. So, notice what Shukadeva Goswami says, pleasure potency. That is known technically as Hladini Shakti. Radharani is Hladini Shakti. Sita, where does Sita come from? Comes from Radharani. Sita and Radharani are simultaneously one and different. Both of them are the pleasure potency. And enjoyed complete peace. Complete peace, not possible on earth. You can have peace for 5 minutes. Then something's bound to happen. You want complete peace? You have to go to where Ram is, where Krishna is. Without transgressing religious principles, Lord Ram, whose lotus feet are worshipped by devotees, enjoyed with all paraphernalia of transcendental pleasure for as long as needed. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat, Lord Ram then accepted the throne of the state. Lord Ram cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties, accepted Lord Ram as their father. Just like in the Christian religion and other religions, they have this conception, God as the Father. So, Lord Ram is God. The citizens of Ayodhya accepted Ram just like their father. Krishna says, by the way, in Bhagavad Gita, I am also father and mother and grandfather. Yes. Again, simultaneously, one and different. Lord Ramachandra became king during Treta Yuga. But because of Lord Ram's good government The age was like Satya Yuga, for everyone was religious and completely happy. Unlike Kali Yuga, where everyone is mostly unhappy. But that's just the nature. And it's going to get worse. Don't worry about it. Kali Yuga, the scriptures explain, it only gets worse unless you take shelter of Ram or Krishna. Then you have an umbrella. Just like when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, it became an umbrella. And even though Indra was sending large pillars of rain the size of trunks of elephants, we could use that here in California. Right? And there was hail and wind, and it was very cold. Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. Krishna said, everybody come underneath the umbrella. And they were protected. So if you take shelter of Krishna or Ram, you'll be protected. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was king of this world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There was not even death for those who did not want it. Why would you want to die? You're in the presence of Lord Ram. Why would you want to go anywhere else? We go somewhere else for vacation because we're looking for some kind of change of scenery. We need a break from the humdrum of life, so we go on vacation. But if you're in the presence of Lord Ram or Lord Krishna, you're on permanent vacation. You're all protected. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other women. So, this is where Ram and Krishna differ. They're one, but here they make a difference. Because Krishna definitely didn't accept one wife. Krishna only accepted 16,108. That's all. But Ram, to set an example, because Prabhupada once said, when Ravana stole Sita, Ramachandra could have said, what's one Sita? I'll create 100 more Sitas. Just like that. But no, he had to show and teach an example. So he accepted one wife and gave full protection. But he had that ability, he had that potency. Lord Ram was the saintly king, and everything in Lord Ram's character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. Lord Ram taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders. Thus, Lord Ram taught the general public by his personal activities. So this is mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Yad yad arati shrestas tat tad evetararjada. Whatever a great person does, common people follow. Just like for me, in my life, it's Srila Prabhupada. Seeing Srila Prabhupada, hearing him, having some interaction with him, following him, reading his books, he is teaching me good behavior. As long as I continue to follow Prabhupada's example, I'm protected. So, Lord Ram set the standard as the ideal human being. If you study the character of Ram, you will get a good idea of how one should live their life. Pious, obedient, sense-controlled, Now, I'm not going to make any comment. I'll let Shukadev's words speak for themselves. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, Mother Sita completely attracted the mind of Lord Ram. Same thing for Krishna. Radharani's love and devotion is so powerful, it controls Krishna. Krishna is known as Madana Mohan, the attractor of Cupid. Cupid was defeated by Krishna, especially in his form of Narayan. Cupid was defeated. So, Radharani is called Madana Mohana Mohani. She attracts the attractor of Cupid. Here we see, how did Sita attract the mind of Lord Ram? Submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste. As I said, I'm not going to make any comments here. I'm dying to, but I'm not. Before I go to the Krishna part, let's chant a little. It's time for a commercial break. Will my wife assist me, who is very submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste? I had to get it in. Hari Haraye Namaha. Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana. Hari Haraye Namaha. Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana. Hari Haraye Namaha. Hari Haraye Namaha. Everybody. So, the theme, tonight's theme, Ram and Krishna simultaneously one and at the same time different, unique, separate. So, I mentioned at the beginning that Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the tree known as Vedas or knowledge. But if you wanted something even higher, it's Brahma Samhita. One chapter. Originally there were 100 chapters. 99 chapters missing. Anyone who can find any of the 99 chapters, you will be blessed. We only have chapter 5. Prabhupada, our spiritual master here in this temple, sitting on the Vyasasan. Prabhupada was very fond of Brahma Samhita. He recorded it several times in different ways. So there's one nice shloka. Departure eva hi dashantaram abhyupetya dipayate varitta hetu samana dharma yastadrig eva hicha vishnutaya vibhati. Everybody, Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So this verse is given by Lord Brahma to understand deeply this philosophical point of something being simultaneously one and different at the same time. This verse says, when the flame of one candle is expanded to another candle and placed in a different position, it burns separately. So now you have two candles, and its illumination is as powerful as the original candle. Makes sense, right? Two candles. The first one lights the other one, but now both candles are equal. So in the same way, Govinda Krishna is the original candle, and then from Govinda Krishna comes Ram and all the other avatars. Just as I mentioned earlier, from Radhaji comes all the gopis, comes all the Lakshmis, including Sita. So again, something can be one and at the same time different. This is a philosophical understanding. Ete changsa kala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So this line, everybody repeat. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Very good. When you repeat, it encourages me. Thank you. Therefore, I give you the bell. So, this verse is considered to be the mission statement of the 18,000 shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam. Especially the line, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. The whole Bhagavatam is explaining that line in 18,000 shlokas. Where does this verse come? In the beginning, first canto, the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka, have selected Sutta Goswami as their acharya. And they've put six questions about transcendental subjects. So in the course of answering those questions, Sutta Goswami listed about 20 or so avatars, but he didn't indicate whose avatars they were. That's why this line is significant. Because he could have said, Narayanastu Bhagavan Swayam. Or he could have put any name. Specifically, he puts Krishnastu, meaning all these incarnations that I've mentioned, Krishna is the origin. Simultaneously, one and different. Now, before Shukadeva Goswami starts to narrate Krishna's Janma Karma, birth and activities in the 10th canto, which is also significant, Vyasadeva goes through 9 cantos so that you understand this concept of simultaneously one and different. Then in the 10th canto, when you're fully educated in spiritual science, now you can properly understand Krishna's janma karma, birth and activities. So, in the final chapter, before getting to the 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami gives a complete list of Krishna's gotra, his entire lineage, ending with Vasudeva, Devaki, Krishna's 7 brothers, and 1 sister, who will also soon be here, Subhadraji. Am I right? Soon you will have Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra. You know, when I think about this, I just got a message from Krishna just now. So, it is explained, Krishna is perfect in Dwaraka, perfect. In Mathura, he's more perfect, huh? And in Vrindavan, Krishna is most perfect. So I'm just thinking, when you get Ram, Hanuman, Sita, you're getting all, right? Ram, Lakshmana. And when you get Baladev, Subhadra, and Jagannath, added to RadhaRaman, added to what we already have, this temple will be most perfect. Do you agree? You like that? Jai. I like when I get text messages from Krishna. It means I'm doing good. So, in that final chapter, after giving Krishna's lineage, he gives a very quick summary of what is going to be explained in 90 chapters in the 10th canto. It's the biggest section of Bhagavatam, 10th canto. 90 chapters. There's a lot to learn. So there's several verses. I'm just giving you the most important ones. To show causeless mercy to the devotees who would take birth in the future in this age of Kali, so that's us. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, acted in such a way that simply by remembering Krishna, one will be freed from all lamentation and unhappiness in material existence. Now, I can testify to this because for the past 25, 30, 35, 40 years, every day I am reading Krishna's pastimes. And yes, I feel free from lamentation. It's true. And it's there for you too. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam exists. It's for your benefit. Why did our Guru Prabhupada painstakingly explain Bhagavatam? Just so that we would have this treasure house of knowledge, and as it says here, free from lamentation. So if you're ever unhappy, take some time, read about Krishna. In other words, Krishna acted so that all future devotees, by accepting the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one could be relieved from the pangs of material existence. Remember, Arjuna was suffering in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was confused. He was crying. He was bewildered. But if you go through the whole 18 chapters, at the end, Krishna says, "So Arjuna, I've told you everything. What is your response?" What does Arjuna say? "Having heard Gita from you, my illusion is dispelled, and I am firm, ready to fight." So that should be a clue. By reading Bhagavad Gita, the cobwebs of doubt will be cleared. Sometimes we have doubts in our heart. It's like cobwebs. If you have not cleaned a certain part of the house for a long time, what happens? Cobwebs and so much dirt. But you have to clean it out. My wife is now thinking, yeah, we have to clean your room. So, in the heart, simply by reading Bhagavad Gita, you clear out all the doubts. Now, here comes such a sweet verse. It is said in the Vedas that a dissertation should end in sweetness. Just like in some Indian cultures, they take the sweet first. Other cultures, they take the sweet at the end. So, there's I don't know the Sanskrit, but there is a shloka that everything should end in a nice sweet. So I'm going to end with this beautiful statement by Shukadeva Goswami. Unfortunately, the curtain is closed. It would be nice to be able to look at Krishna while this is being read. Nevertheless, envision. Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments such as earrings resembling sharks. Krishna's ears are beautiful. Krishna's cheeks are brilliant. And Krishna's smiling is attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. Krishna's face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see. But some devotees are angry at Lord Brahma for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of the eyes. This is called transcendental madness. Because when the eye blinks, you don't even notice it. But this is especially the gopis. They especially curse the Lord Brahma, saying that Brahma does not know how to create. First of all, he has only given 2 eyes to see Krishna. We want thousands of eyes. And even these eyes, because of the blinking for that nanosecond, we don't see Krishna. That's the transcendental madness of the gopis. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as, please repeat, Leela Purushottama. So, Leela means his playful pastimes. Purusha Uttama, the topmost transcendental person. That's Krishna. 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is entitled Purushottama Yoga. Krishna explains at the end of that 15th chapter that there are 2 kinds of people, fallible and infallible. In the material world, everybody's fallible. In the spiritual world, everybody's infallible. But I am beyond both fallible and infallible. Therefore, Krishna says, I am known throughout the world and in the Vedas as Purushottama. Everybody say. He appeared as the son of Vasudeva and immediately left his father's home and went to, where did he go? Vrindavan. To expand his loving relationships with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavan, Krishna killed many demons. And afterwards, Krishna went to Dwaraka, where according to Vedic principles, Krishna married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship in order to establish the principles of householder life. So, in terms of comparing Ram and Krishna, I ended the Ram section by saying, Ram, you can say, is the ideal human being. Now with Krishna, some things you can follow, but some things you should not imitate. For instance, better we follow Ram's example by marrying one wife, not following Krishna's example of marrying 16,108 wives. So certain pastimes of Krishna can be followed and some no, because the Krishna avatar, so if Ram is showing the example of the ideal human being, Krishna is showing who and what God really is in the ultimate sense. The supreme controller, the supreme enjoyer, and the dearmost friend of everyone. All right, we'll end here. Let's just do 1 minute kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before I go,